Jim, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video. I'm going to go through and kind of break it down in a couple key spots we like to look at. We like to look at, how you're starting over the rubber. What are you doing over the rubber? Where are you breaking your hands? How are your hips taking you down the hill? And then we're going to look at foot strike. We're going to look at right when that right foot touches the ground, what do you look like? Where are your arms in a good position? Are your hips starting to work before your upper body? And then are you finishing out over your front foot? All right, so we're going to go through and break it down in each spot. So overall, it's pretty solid. You're driving really well with your legs. You're getting really extended out front, and so that's all good. There's a couple things we can work on to help out a little bit. But overall, especially for lefty, looks like you're generating a lot of power, and you're driving down the hill, which I like to see. All right, so everything is there for you. Now it's just a matter of getting comfortable with yourself, getting a little more under control with your body, and just a few little timing things that will help you out. All right. So first off, we look at setup. How we set up is going to dictate a lot of how we're going to finish. Okay. So from the windup, you're starting with your glove, right around that belt, which is fine. Okay. So you're good there. You can take a nice little easy step to the right. You're not moving your body too much. All right. I also like to see those eyes locked on that catcher the whole time. Okay. So everything's good to go. So everything's solid here. All right, so now the one thing that's going to help you get more consistent, throw more strikes, repeat your delivery a little bit more is, I'm going to draw a line back here. So here's your head back over this back foot, which is good, okay? Now what we want it to do is we want to keep it over that back foot longer through our delivery. All right, you can kind of see the camera kind of follows you a little bit. But what you're going to notice that your back leg starts to bend, and that's what initiates your delivery forward. All right, so you're going to see this bend, and then your leg starts to come down, and then your hands start to break. All right, we don't want to see this knee bend. I mean, if we're looking from the catcher, that's probably close to 90 degrees. All right, we don't get power from that classic drop and drive mantra. We get power from our hips staying closed and our hips leading down the hill. All right, so you're in a good position here. Your leg's still closed. All right, now it's just a matter of staying taller. All right, we want to try to get to a spot where your head follows, like the top of your head will follow a straight line down. All right, and you can see that you drop right out of that frame, and you're staying really low. And as a pitcher, we want to try to create angle. We want to stay on top of the ball. We want to create angles where we're going down. All right, then you can kind of see your head kind of falling back on that track. So we just want to make sure that we're staying taller. And that's just going to allow ourselves to use more hips instead of, using that quadricep. We want to try to generate more power, more velocity down the hill in here, and we're not going to get it, using the quad. Okay. So the biggest thing that you can work on is to load up the inside part of this knee. All right. If you load up the inside part of that knee and direct everything, down towards the ground, you're not going to be able to flex that knee as much. All right. So just to stay up, and then another thing that dropping down does is you can see that this leg kind of kicks back, bends back, and then kind of kicks out. We want to try to keep this angle. We don't want to get any flexion in our knee. We just want to keep this foot kind of dangling out there, and you let it kind of kick out and around. Okay. So the one thing that helps with consistency of where we're breaking our hands is we want to get our hands to break before we start forward. So the timing of the mechanics is we want, from this position, we want our hip to stay closed and start forward. We want this knee to drop down. We don't want it to swing out. All right, so we just want it to drop, and we need that ball to start coming out of that glove. Okay, and you can see that body's going forward, forward, forward. Now the hands come out, Alright, so the hands are coming out probably about right here. It's probably covered by the video. Your hands are probably coming out now. You can see this knee's already down, and you can see that your body's really far forward from when you first started your motion down. Okay, so we want to make sure that the head's, we'll mark it right back here. Alright, now everything starts to break, so the hands are going to break right back here. So right as that foot comes down and the hands break, now that's going to get yourself in a more consistent position. Dropping right here, all this does is coaches and scouts, they like tall pitchers because we can create angle, we get on top of the ball, we use that mound, drive everything downhill. So now you go from, I don't know how tall you are, we'll just say 6-foot pitcher, to now you're about a 5'5" pitcher or something, So we just want to stay up. We don't want to keep our legs locked, our knees locked. We just want to get ourselves in a position where we're loading up here and not, in the quadricep. The quad isn't what's going to get us more power, more quickness. All right, it might feel like that, but it's not going to do that. All right, so driving through the motion. All right, you're staying through your legs pretty good. All right, and this up here is really good too. All right, the way your left arm and your right arm are working together is really good as well. Okay, so we're going to look at foot strikes. So right when that front foot hits the ground, it kind of looks like we might be somewhere between these two frames. Okay, so you can see here, this left shoulder starting to turn. All right, this back shoulder's hasn't turned quite yet. All right, you got a good angle here. All right, you're setting up yourself with some torque so that left hip starting to turn forward. Before that left shoulder, this glove staying out. So it's a pretty solid position right here. All right. Through delivery, through release, all right, you can see that you're getting down over that front foot, not as much as we could. Okay, you can kind of see you're fighting that front leg a little bit. You're going to see it stiffen up before you release. All right, we want it to stiffen up after we've released. All right, so you want to try to transfer, and all that's going to do is you got to transfer more weight down over this front foot. We don't want it to get in front of the toes. We just wanted to get it, that knee farther out here a little bit when we draw that line. So we just want to try to get like a 90-degree angle, all right, and see how now you're starting to fight it and stiffens up, all right. And all that's going to do is that's going to cause, you can see your elbow get out in front of you, all right. That's losing power there. It's exposing that elbow a little bit more to more pressure. And all that's going to do is if you're out here, all right, and this is what I'd like to see you at release. All right, right out here, and now that's going to get that head. That's going to pick up, maybe 6 inches or so. That's going to get you a little bit farther out, using more angle. All right, and then you release the ball, and now that leg starts to stiff. You can kind of see yourself go up on your heel. All right, we don't want to see that. We want to see weight distribute on that ball of your foot, and you're driving out over that front foot. And all that is, you're just stiff legging it a little bit. So you're just not transferring enough energy forward. So you're still leaving some energy back here. All right, we want to take all this and transfer it forward, as most athletically and quickly as we can, to drive everything out over here, which in turn rotates those shoulders quicker and just gets you thrown a lot harder. All right, so like I said, overall, really solid. All right, I didn't even have to go back and look at how your arm was working. You had your angles matched up. Everything was good. You didn't have extreme angles. Your elbow wasn't way up above your shoulder. So health-wise, it looks pretty good with your arms, the way they're working. All right, now it's just a matter of breaking your hands over the rubber a little bit sooner. All right, and just staying a little bit taller and using that inside part of that knee to drive those hips forward. All right, it's just that's all it really is for you is to break your hands later, or break your hands earlier over the rubber, so that gets you that timing. If you're breaking your hands down the hill, you aren't able to time it as much. So, anyways, again, solid. Hope you're having a great summer. Thanks for coming out to camp. We look forward to seeing you again with ABC.